Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Running a Holistic Office. We're coming to you live from 1962 in our computer room at the forerunner of Holistic Office. Ha ha ha, right? So, which brings me to, who I am today. I'm Kristen Ford, and I am your host for Running a Holistic Office. And I am the creator of Holistic Office, which is an electronic health records management system designed for independent, integrative, and holistic practitioners so that you all can spend a whole lot less time on administrative work and spend time on the things you enjoy, like your patients and your life. So I created Running a Holistic Office to share with you all the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years consulting in practices like yours and other small businesses, so that not only you can get the most out of your current EHR, but also, pick up some things to help you just streamline your operations and to make, just life a little bit better and easier so that your employees are happy to be working there, and your patients love coming in to see you. So, isn't that a great introduction? Anyways, so I'm happy you all are joining me today, and while we are waiting for a few more people to kind of come on in, I would like to invite you to join me on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you are watching me there. Would love to connect with you, and so anyways. So yeah, thought today, was really kind of digging the room and just feeling the vibe. And that brings us to our topic for today, which is using disposables accounts to protect your data, right? And you're like, disposable accounts? Say what? Yeah. So luckily, disposable accounts don't create the waste of all these little cans that we have here in the picture. But there are multiple ways that we can use disposable accounts, and it's kind of for a lot of people, it's not something that you really think about a whole lot. Our emails get hacked, and you're like, crap, I got to change emails, or I got to change my password, or you're just loaded with spam. And it's the same thing really with telephone numbers and also with credit cards, right? And so what's been happening over the years is people, hack more and more information because, your data is worth money, right? There's been a lot of other tools to help prevent people from actually getting to the heart of, what that actual data is, what your real email address is, and telephone number, and this, that, and the other thing. So I thought this was an interesting topic to speak to you all about, because there are ways of using this in your business that can help not only to protect your data, but also to help organize a little bit more, your emails and telephone numbers and all that other kind of great stuff. So just to kind of talk about what these really are, is they're like an alias, right? So, you always have this AKA, Kristen, otherwise known as, BBK, right? So I'm the same person, but sometimes with a different name or a different moniker, right? So it's the same thing with emails. And there are several ways to do this, and telephone too, credit cards and all that good stuff. And there are several ways to actually to do this. And so how they really work is you can either go to an app that you're using right now, right, and create alias accounts that all flow into a specific box that you ask them to, or even a telephone number that you give out, and you can then know exactly, who's calling you, or you can use an app. And so, for me personally, if you're going to use another app, you're giving that information that you're trying to mask to the new app holder, right? So that's just one more place where you're going to be, giving your information. And sometimes it's not as secure as some of these larger email providers and your credit card provider, or even telephone. I mean, dang, has anybody tried to hack a telephone number? I mean, you would think that is just, they've got stronger security than some of the banks I work with, for crying out loud. So anyway, so how this would work, and what I usually suggest to people is that they use the accounts that they already have. Now, I think for email, starting with emails, the two biggest email providers really is Microsoft and Google, right? And I personally use Microsoft 365 for our company, and I like it for a number of reasons. I like its interface. I think it's easy to use, but they also allow you to make, I think it's like 500 alias emails, and they're super easy to make. And so for a company like yours or a practice like yours, depending on the type of information that you or I guess the type of emails that you want to receive, you can create different emails for different things. So I think one of the big ways you can use a disposable email is for subscriptions, right? We all want to get stuff. And then, next thing you know, it's just like the barrage of emails every single day. And, bless their hearts, right? It works, but sometimes it's a lot easier if you can just sweep that right into another account. So like with Office 365, which I really like, they have these sweep rules. And so if you make an alias email, you can go in and make, subscriptions or, Kristen subscriptions at, myholisticoffice.com type thing. And that's the email you would use to set up and use for, any new subscriptions, right? And so, and then I can set up a sweep rule. And so say any emails that come, to this email address, we're going to sweep this into this new folder. And then I can go look at that when I'm ready. And it keeps my inbox a little bit more focused, so that if I have patients that are not patients, excuse me, you have patients, I have clients. So if I have clients that are trying to reach me, I can, that's what's going to come into my inbox. And so, so to me, that's a really great way to use alias emails, right? And Gmail, I believe, has those same type of tools. I've played in the Gmail sandbox. Don't love it per se. I find it a little clunkier to kind of navigate sometimes, with organization. So, but I do know that they have those capacities, and I think it's very easy. My developer actually gave me this great shortcut to make new emails, rather easily. So like for Gmail, you can just use like your regular email type thing and add a little plus sign and then something at the end, and boom, you've got an instant disposable email. Super, super easy. But if you're going to do something like that, keep track of it, right? So for me personally, coming from a business standpoint, you might want to just organize those things within your business email so that you can better track them. And then you can set up your sweep rules and you can organize your inbox a lot better. So as you can see, for me, these, the alias emails, I think are probably the best ones for organization. And it helps mask a little bit more, your personal email. Okay. And so, so if somebody wants to go off and sell, subscriptions at myholisticoffice.com, great. That's an easy one for me to throw out, and it doesn't impact my personal email, right? So yay me. Now, so for credit cards, these are great. There's the major banks all now have the ability to give you basically a throwaway number. So you can go in and make a credit card charge and use a number that is just not the same number. So with all the data breaches, and people are always looking for credit card information, right? That's a really great one to consider. And so I think the first place you should go and look is your, you have credit cards, go straight to your credit card bank and or distributor and see what they offer. A lot of them really offer these things, and they can be super helpful, right? So now, telephone numbers, I haven't done a lot of throwaway telephone numbers, right? So, for me, I think, you can certainly use, lots of different apps, like Google Voice, you can use, and I mean, you can even get phone numbers through Zoom and, all kinds of stuff that you can use for your business or for other, uses, right? That then protects your own personal phone number. And so, so when you finally get that private time and your alone time or just, just time when you're not working, you're not being inundated with all of these calls because you're using the exact same cell phone, or landline if you're still using a landline. You can even get a prepaid telephone, for certain things, and that's the number that you give out, and you just know when that phone rings, it's for whatever you designated it for. So I mentioned a little bit about apps, so these apps, I actually pulled some of this. There's a great article in the Washington Post. I posted a little while ago. They now have something called the Help Desk, and they have great articles about data and protecting your data and all this great stuff. And so these apps, I was able to actually pull from that article. I haven't personally used them, but from what I gather on these is there's a lot of different things you can really do, and I think the do not pay especially gives you a lot of flexibility to put limitations on things. So one of the things that they brought up, especially with credit cards, is if you get a subscription and you just don't want to pay past a certain amount on a subscription, you can put those parameters in on this disposable card number, and then when it's done, right? A lot of people, that's how they make their money, is they want you to forget about the subscription, and then you get a few extra months here and there. They're not providing any services. Ethical, right? So anyways, here's a couple of apps for you guys to consider, to check out. Again, I feel like if you have credit cards and you have a business email account, you can easily achieve all of this within the framework that you have and not pay another dime for anything. All for that. So some things to consider. Some things to consider. So when you're using disposables, you need to keep in mind, if you are trying to protect your core data, right? If you're going to use a disposable long term, it's going to eventually be tied back to you. Okay, so you're not going to get all that protection that you really hope. So so think about that, and if it's relatively okay, then I guess it's relatively okay. But think about what your goals are with this. And that kind of brings me into like, hey, let's try to be ethical about this, right? So we're not trying to deceive people. We're trying to organize better, and we're trying to reduce unethical behavior that comes from the billions and billions of robocalls and emails that are unsolicited and all these great things. Get them all the time. But when you're doing this, you certainly don't want to be using it in a way that would ever reflect badly upon you or your business, and your practice, right? Trust is what we got, right? So once that's blown, it's blown. So just kind of be careful about that. And then I think the last thing, I want you to consider is how you can use these things for organizing, and for me, if there's too many layers of organization, it's just too organized for me, right? So, but, I do feel like having, a phone number that I know when that phone rings, this is going to be one of my clients, makes life so much easier. Or I know that, this is the phone number I use whenever I sign up for something, right? We sign up everywhere. And from what I gather, it's the phone number that really ties you to everything, right? So having a couple of phone numbers isn't necessarily the worst thing, right? And then we talked also a little bit about how you can easily organize that inbox. And, for heaven's sakes, you step away from that inbox for a week and it takes you a month to bail out of it. So if you have some rules that you can put in place, and using, some of these disposable emails, then, do it, man. So anyways, that's really what I had for today. I think these disposables are a great way of protecting, your core data, a great way to help you organize, and it's something to consider. And, and again, I say go back to the things you already have in your, there in your stable of apps, and, you don't have to get another new one, right? Who needs that? So, As you know, we always end the week with our chief companion officer, who you might hear in the background kind of rustling around today. And we adore her. And last week she went to the beach, and I left you with a little video about her. But what you don't see is what happens after the beach. So we're real fortunate. We're down here in San Diego area, and I know of at least 3 dog beaches, and we love to go to Ocean Beach. And my favorite cousin in the world, she suggested the Ocean Beach dog wash. Big shout out to those guys. So after the beach, we take Daisy on down, and you can see how happy she is here. Poor baby. So, but she gets herself all nice and cleaned up and fuzzy and ready for the next trip and everything. So, anyways, we just wanted to let you know that she doesn't go home all loaded up in sand and uncomfortable after romping around in the beach. And, you can tell she's just kind of, what would we say that look is? A bit pensive, maybe, resigned. Well, anyways, we just wanted to leave you with just a little bit of dose of a behind the scenes of Daisy's fun life. And I also have a quick announcement to make too. We're going to go to the first and third Tuesdays of every month now. And it's not because we don't have lots of things to share with you, but we're going to start sharing things a little bit more impromptu. And as they kind of pop into my head, and anybody who actually knows me in person, they're probably a little afraid. But we will be back. We will be back in the middle of the month of February. And we are going to be talking about reconciling your sales with your books. Woo, get out the party hats for that one. But a couple of tips just so it makes it easier at the end of the month, and you always know what you're doing, because we want you to be not reacting to your practice. Woo, we want you to be planning, and we want you to be growing your practice, and we want you to spend less time on administrative work and more time on what you love to do. So with that, everybody, I want to thank you for coming today and listening to my spiel and hanging out in my little retro room. And I wish you all a great week. And if you are out and about and floating around and see me, come like my page on Facebook, right? I'm there too. Lucky you. All right. So everybody have a fantastic week, and I will see you in 2 weeks. That's two. So, or peace, right? There we go. Peace out. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.